Joined now by the head coach of the Mavericks, Mike Hastings, coming off a weekend sweep and heading up to Bemidji State. Mike, your thoughts on this past weekend with how things went for you, and then what do you have in store for the Mavericks heading up to Bemidji State this weekend?
Yeah, first of all, it was just as you usually expect in our league, an absolute battle last weekend. Really 2 coin toss games where it could have went either way, and we were fortunate to find a way to win it overtime after a really big save by Dryden McKay to allow us to get to overtime. And then Saturday night, the difference was an empty netter. So really good series. Hopefully we're a better team going through it. I'm happy to get to 5 points, fortunate. And now we're going to one of our biggest rivals, Bemidji State. A very important time for both teams, and look forward to trying to find a way to get some points in Bemidji and close out our first half.
Great, thanks for that. On the line with us right now is Kevin Dudley from the Mankato Free Press. And Kevin, do you have a couple questions for Mike?
Mike, we're going to talk to Wyatt here, so I'll ask a few about him. He's obviously been your captain, and that's obviously a big job, to wear a badge in your program. Maybe just talk about how he's stepped into that role and the things he's done as captain for you.
Yeah, you know what, Wyatt? He going all the way back to this last summer, Wyatt has done a tremendous job of setting examples and really leading our group, whether it's been our training during the summer, whether it's been away from the rink and taking care of not only himself. He showed up in phenomenal shape and really has just been a selfless individual that a lot of people have been able to look at. And
Jack Hittinger from U.S. College Hockey Online asked a question about the Bemidji State MSU rivalry. Goes back a long time. We've had some great games between the two teams this weekend. Going up to Bemidji as the #1 team and playing for the top spot in the standings make things more intense.
Well, I think the latter part of that, it seems like anytime we're playing Bemidji, you're playing for playoff positioning, and with both teams being where they're at right now, we're chasing Bemidji. Bemidji's only lost, I think right now we're 5 points up on them, but they've got 2 games in hand. So if they were able to win those, we'd be behind them. So they're very important for us because we view them as a team that's ahead of us, even though the numbers aren't equitable because of games. Rivalry, it's something that goes all the way back before myself and Tom.
Bemidji, it's you go back to Don Rose, you go back to Coach Peters, and the battles that have gone long-standing, and it really hasn't changed. It doesn't matter where either team is in the standings. It's always because of where we are in proximity. They're our closest competitor in the league, other than St. Thomas now. And historically, you've seen, excuse me, whether you talk the last 10 games or you talk the last 10 years, it seems like every time we get together, it's a battle, and I don't see anything different this time.
Kevin, I apologize, and John Myers on the line with our issues with audio. Hopefully you're able to hear Mike now. Kevin, do you have another question?
Mike, another one about Wyatt. He's obviously someone who's faced some adversity. He's talked about his sophomore year being in and out of the lineup, how that was tough on him. Maybe talk about how he's handled that and some areas you've seen his game improve, over the last year and a half.
Yeah, when you sit and talk to Wyatt, about his experience in our program, there's been some peaks and valleys. He goes through his freshman year and he contributes as far as playing time pretty consistently, and then goes through the sophomore year that you've referenced and doesn't get as much ice time. Adversity, in my opinion, it exposes you. It shows the true colors when things aren't going real well. How do you react to it? And all Wyatt did was control what he could control, which was his effort, his attitude. He went right back to work. communicated very well on hey, what do I need to do to get better? What do I need to do to get in the lineup? And did that without being real selfish about it. Even though I know it was burning him up inside, he's the type of young man that just, you didn't see it. You didn't see a pout. You didn't see him trying to bring others down, even though the game wasn't paying him back for what he thought the effort was. And, you know, he has told me, and I think he's told others, it's made him stronger. And I think it's why you see the respect that you see with him wearing our badge as far as the captain of our team, because they know he's visited the peak and the valleys, what a career is at a program. And he's done it in a very selfless manner. So I've got a tremendous amount of respect for him, one as a player and what he does and how hard he is to play against. And then two, how giving he is of himself for others and what a great example he's been in his time here at MSU.
John Myers, do you have a question?
Yes, Coach, you know, you referenced the long time rivalry and you probably know pretty much what Bemidji State's going to bring. Is there much difference with this year's team compared to last year or several years ago? Or do you, when you play the Beavers, do you pretty much know what you're going to get from Coach Serratori and that team?
Yeah, you know what, that's actually I think a really good question based upon each year's different, each team's different. And, you know, the one thing that's consistent, their effort, which they're gonna come and compete, try and out-compete you. Two, the things that they get to control, they're well coached. You know, they're gonna forecheck, they're gonna try and create turnovers by taking time and space away. Their special teams are really good. Their power play, I think, is top 10 in the country. Their penalty kill year in and year out is top 10. Right now, they've got the two cylinders in our Rulo are probably about as productive. I think between the three of them, they're at 60 or 61 points. That's a significant number when you're not even to the break yet. And so they've put together a line that I think is dynamic and drives that group. And then they've got a lot of other guys that buy into the we factor, and they're going to block shots. They're going to be good on faceoffs. They're just a very detailed group that goes out and puts the work boots on every day. And I think that's what Bemidji's been, whether it's this year or the last 10 years. And even before that, they're a hard out. If you're going to get points when you go up to Bemidji, you're going to have to earn them. They're not gonna, they don't beat themselves. They're disciplined. They very, very seldomly take penalties, definitely not undisciplined ones. And so I just think they give you an opportunity again to look in the mirror and see about yourself. And we're gonna have to be really good if we want to get any points.
Question from Jack Hittinger. He says, I think we all know the rankings and polls don't necessarily mean much this time of year, but I do wonder how much your coaching staff thinks about it when you're ranked number one. Is it something you guys look at all, or is it just a distraction?
Well, you don't look at it. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all judged when the season's over. You know, we're at a point right now, and again, we appreciate the recognition for what an opinion poll is, and that's really what it is. I think if you look throughout college hockey, there's one poll that everybody's concerned about. That's the last one. Where you sit, and then, you know, what we're all trying to do right now ourselves, Bemidji, Tech, everybody in our league, everybody really in college hockey, is you're putting together your book of business right now and trying to get as far up the pairwise rankings as you can to qualify for the NCAA tournament while you're pursuing your league regular season, playoff seedings, to set up what's going to happen in the playoffs on who you're going to play. And that is just it's a never-ending process throughout your season at building your book of business. This is another opportunity for us to write a page in that book against a very quality team that I think, you know, is a top 15 or top 16 team in the pairwise right now, and going on the road and trying to find a way to garner some points and garner an opportunity to either, you know, move up or move down in the pairwise rankings, because that's what dictates who gets to play at the end of the year in the NCAA tournament.
Final question for Mike before we bring in Wyatt. Kevin, do you have one?
Mike, was just wondering about Lucas Sauter. Any update you could give on him? I know that he was dealing with an injury after last weekend.
Yeah, Lucas right now is still day-to-day, skated today. You know, we'll see how the rest of the day goes and tomorrow morning on if he'll make the trip or not. And we'll learn a little bit more. Like I said, tomorrow morning, I think he's gonna see the doc and just see if he gets green lighted or not.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. Good luck this weekend at Bemidji State.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Steve.
Right away.
Joined now by senior defenseman Wyatt Aamodt. Wyatt, Mavericks coming off a couple good wins over a tough team from Michigan Tech. Your thoughts on the weekend and your thoughts as the Mavericks head up to Bemidji State this weekend?
Yeah, obviously Tech's a good team. They've had a good year so far. They got a lot of good players over there. We knew it was going to be a dogfight going into that weekend. So for us to come on and kind of play out, we did stick together as a group. I think that shows a lot about the character we have in the room there. And I think we've taken some steps on that aspect of this year, but we got to keep moving forward with that. That being said, I think Bemidji is in the same boat. Obviously, we all know kind of how they are as a team, and we respect those guys. They play a hard-fought game, and you're never gonna, just go up there and be given a win. You got to go up there and earn a win against those guys. Like I said, they're a hard-fought team, well coached, a lot of good players, and we obviously make good battles against them. So it'll be another good test for us.
Great, thanks for that. Kevin Dudley, you have a question for Wyatt?
Wyatt, just a little bit on your leadership role. I think wearing that C is always a big deal, no matter where you're doing it. But you're playing for one of the best programs in the country, and you're wearing that badge. Maybe talk about what that means to you, and what it means to you to have your teammates pick you.
Yes, about your leadership role in one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, I think like I said before, I got to tip my hat to all those other guys I've learned from the past year and other places as well, including our coaching staff. Obviously, none of us as leaders would be in the position we are without our previous teammates and our staff, and kind of how they've helped us in that situation and grow as leaders individually there. For myself, obviously, it's an honor being looked at in that way by my peers on, like I said, one of the top teams in the nation. But I think my main focus is just continuing day by day with this group and getting everything we can out of each day, especially when we break here. We got to squeeze out each day we can together and, just keep our season going as long as we can. So, said for myself, I think that's my main focus. And obviously, I'm honored to wear that badge. I just want to keep going with the group here as long as we can.
Kevin, do you have a follow-up?
Wyatt, when you look at where your game has changed and developed, in your years from, freshman year, you play a lot of sophomore year. I know in and out it was tough on you, and to really solidifying yourself last year, where are some areas you feel like your game has really improved in your time at MSU?
I think I just tried to work on my consistency. I think that was a big question mark, whether that was my practice habits every day. I think that's something that I wanted to take a step on and try to put a big focus on. Like I said, another comment to those guys in the past, they've kind of showed us how to approach every day, whether that's practice-wise or game-wise. That's been a big thing that I want to keep working on and help those younger guys work on as well. That's been a part for me. And then second part is just being, consistent during games. Knowing what the staff can get out of me and players as well, and just kind of doing my job, not worried about anything else. Obviously not a flashy guy, so shut their guys down and play a physical game and kill those penalties, and just do what I can to chip in and help that team out.
John, do you have a question for Wyatt Aamodt?
Yeah, maybe to piggyback on that, Wyatt. So congratulations, by the way, on having the C on your sweater. I think that's awesome. How have you changed in those 4 years? Not so much maybe consistency or practice wise, but personally, that you kind of earned this opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for that compliment there. But I think the biggest thing for me is just maturing at and away from the rink. I think that's been a big thing. Came in a little bit older, but I can't imagine going in as an 18-year-old freshman. I think I need that time in junior to kind of help develop and just kind of take a look in the mirror and kind of figure out who I am and where I can grow as a person, as a player. So I think the biggest thing MSC has done for me is just consistency, accountability, that type of stuff, and being a good teammate. So that, obviously those are things our staff preaches, and part of the reason why Maverick Hockey's had success. So I think just trying to carry myself in those ways, humble, help all those other guys out. I think it's a big thing I can keep working on. I think that's areas where I've grown and can help this group on and off the ice, like I said before.
Kevin, do you have a final question for Wyatt?
Wyatt, that adversity you faced your sophomore year, being in and out, how much has that shaped you, and how much did that motivate you to get to the point where you're at right now with your game?
Yeah, obviously that area is tough. We all come here, we want to play, and it's a big part of it. But I think for me now, it's just one of those things that kind of in my back pocket. Whether it's not having a good practice, a good shift in the game or something, just kind of knowing and trusting myself that, I obviously am here for a reason, and, I've had played games in the past for a reason. So just kind of have that confidence part of my back pocket there to help myself, in some of those tough times, because obviously everything isn't smooth and glory for everyone here. So I think that's a big thing for me. It's just kind of leaning on those things, and then I can also help those younger guys or other guys in that similar situation, just being able to go through that stuff. So it's always nice to listen to someone that's actually been through it, not just someone that wants to talk about it.
All right, Wyatt, thanks very much. Good luck against Bemidji State.
Thank you.